So this is all sealed in CRE 321. It's an epoxy primer, but it's a real thick sandable. The downside is it's a little bit lumpy. See if you can see that, but it's not bad. And I find to get it down what you often got to do. So the first coat, I put it on just with a 2-to-1 mix like you're supposed to. You can reduce it a little bit, and it doesn't take much, but when you reduce it a little bit, you'll get like a really small orange peel, and that'll basically scuff right off nice and smooth. And the reason we went with the epoxy, we didn't want to disturb any of that stuff, and we didn't. But we put enough on and it kind of soaked in, so that should harden, and hopefully that'll kind of freeze that in place. And I mean, it should last a long time. You can see right here there was a bit of a hole. We put a little extra goop in that area, but that'll dry and hopefully that'll stay there. We got a little piece of wire in there, we'll pull that out later. That's just to hold down the mat. We glued it in. I did that on this side as well, just so it's not flopping around in there. Put a little bit of adhesive on the back side of it and squished it down, the wires just to hold it. Once the primer and the glue and everything's dry tomorrow, we can yank the wires out. But we wanted to make sure we got all the bare metal everywhere really good. We didn't touch the lap too much, or the latch. We are going to paint that, but we're going to hit that with as little primer as possible. Because you don't want it getting in the mechanism. You can see when they painted it pink, they just sort of painted everything and avoided it, but got a lot of overspray. That being said, I might take it off tomorrow and see if we can clean it with some really strong thinner, because if it cleans right up, it almost looks like it'll have the gold finish underneath. If that's the case though, I'll probably put it back on and tape it off, because I'd like those bolts to be pink. In this case, that's what I think the car would have come like, but not bad. So this was all new metal that was all rotted away, so we recreated the whole bottom of that and it turned out okay. Now basically the hood, we did the same thing. We did a heavy epoxy primer up under the front where a lot of the damage was. We did the Pore 15 on there. We scuffed that really well, and then we epoxy primered it. We came down past, maybe down to here, and then over there we went right down that side. And then on the second and third coat, I basically thinned that down a little bit just so that we could seal the whole bottom up. This is going to get a satin finish black paint on it, because there's little factory runs and stuff in there that we're not going to bother with. It's going to look like what Cadillac did in '63 basically, except their black finish was kind of shitty, for lack of better words. We're going to do a little better than that. I did hit it a little too hard right there, but luckily that'll sand right down, because this stuff is really sandable. It's unfortunate that I just noticed that, because, oh well. Honest to God, I mean, I'm probably going to go over the whole thing and sand it a little bit anyway. We'll avoid up in those areas and leave it thick and hard if we can. But I mean, it can be half decently smooth, so we won't waste a lot of time on it, but we'll go over it fairly quick. A couple of Durablocks. Sometimes to get into all these weird little places, I'll take the rubber foamy blocks. When you buy all these panels, like new panels, they come with little blocks on the corners. I throw those in a bucket, and every so often I'll cut one to make it fit, wrap it in paper. And then basically this stuff, you can probably get away with like 180 and then a quick 220. And I'm talking really fast. And basically once that's half decent, our satin black will bury all that. This is the bottom of a hood. This, however, we got to go over a little better. And I did this one a little bit more reduced, because I wanted this one, like, this wasn't about gluing a whole lot. So I did do those full strength, but all the rest of the metal on this was basically reduced. So this can all be sanded really quickly. It's pretty smooth. It'd be kind of like a little worse than a factory orange peel on this, so it'll sand out pretty good. And if you miss a little bit here and there, I don't think it'll matter, as long as this one big flat plane, like the top, as long as that's really nice. So when you open the trunk, it just looks like the rest of the car essentially. So anyway, it was a bit of a pain in the butt. I could have done a video of me shooting it on, but I didn't feel like it. I just came off of a cold for over a week and the flu, and it really sucked. So if my demeanor's a little different, that could be why. Today's the first day I was actually able to get back to work and do something productive. You know, and this took about a day because we went around and checked stuff and scuffed stuff, and we tried to blow things out, and that's what's hard with these hoods and stuff. As much as we blew out all the holes, we had that fan going, and that fan works pretty good when you're painting. But over there I got an auxiliary fan, and that basically you can clean in here and you can suck the dust right out of the room, which is pretty cool. But as much as I ran the fans and blew it out, I thought nothing would come out anymore. And of course, when we went to paint, there's a couple places where a little bit of junk come out of it. But it is what it is. We sealed it in with the epoxy primer. Hopefully it won't be too bad. And when we're sanding, if there's a spot, it'll come out. We'll know. Well, we'll just touch the spot up. But that's it for today. Cheers.